Okay, social work. So this is not a zero waste or even a minimal related video. I've been asked a couple of times to do a social work update or answer various social work questions, and it's just because I am so flippin' busy. I just feel like I can't spend any time on anything other than studying, and if I do, I feel really guilty. So last time I made an update, I think I was just going through orientation of my placement. So I guess I'll go through what my placement experience was like, and I guess I didn't want to do a video on this because I didn't have a great experience, and I don't want anyone coming into social work thinking, oh my god, the placements are going to be shit, I'm not going to know what I'm doing, I'm not going to have any support, all this stuff. But I think what I learnt the most, and this is why I didn't want to do a placement video straight after I did placement, because those feelings were still hot and ready and I was mad, you know, like that's not a good way to, you know, review a situation. So what I learnt was that placement is what you make of it, and it's like your learning is entirely up to you. And I think that's something I really struggled with because I'm so used to structured learning and, you know, at least getting suggestions of what I should be doing. Yeah, I guess these are just my feelings, but like I know that, you know, it may not have appeared that way, but I really struggled. I didn't feel like I had a lot of support, I didn't feel like I had a lot of structure, I didn't feel like anyone was giving me answers to why I wasn't doing well. A lot of the time I was sitting around, sometimes I even was just watching anime. Like, honestly, for like 5 weeks of my placement, I was doing shit all, and then it came to like mid-placement evaluation and they were like, so what have you done? And I was like, fucking nothing, it's my placement's fault. But you know, it's pretty fucked for me to blame my placement when they, you know, it's not their responsibility to look out for me and you know, make sure I'm meeting all the criteria for passing placement, you know? I didn't even tell you where I was placed, did I? In my placement video? I'm just gonna recap. So I was in a community development placement. I worked in a community center. The community center that I found out was not a well-respected center, you know, in the community. But I slowly realized that none of them really were. That, you know, people thought all of them could be doing better, and, you know, they weren't doing outreach, and they weren't, you know, people didn't know they existed and stuff. And, you know, it was tough because the center didn't really have the incentive to do stuff that would provide me with experience. Honestly, there was some burnt out people working in the center. It's tough, you know, I'm a bright, sparkly new student who's excited about the world, and, you know, I guess I came in there thinking, wow, I'm gonna do all this really great stuff. I didn't think like I'm gonna, you know, change the world, but I certainly thought I was gonna make some kind of impact. But that's not the case. Burnt out people are hard to work with. They're very cynical, very jaded. You come to them with an idea and it's like, oh, okay, well, this and this and this and this, you know, those are reasons that we can't do this, and why that's a bad idea. Or, oh, we've already tried this, so we're never gonna try it again. Yeah, I don't want to go like too much in depth of my personal experience of placement, but I will tell you that for my specific university, we had to do fucking reflections or something. I'll try to put an example up on the screen. I don't know if I had one that, like, you know, wasn't too personal maybe, but we had to do reflections every week as part of our criteria for passing placement, and we had to be really strict about the hours that we put in our Excel spreadsheet, and there was this other really big thing we had to do that was really annoying. It was like a goals thing, like a learning outcomes or something, like what we wanted to achieve from placement and like how that meets certain like educational requirements or something. That really snuck up on me. Like, you really want to get like way up in there, like you want to get that done ASAP, because that fucking fucked me up. And it seems like that report, process recording, why is that coming to my head? That snuck up on me. I didn't know what to do. No one knew what to do, because you're not told anything. You're just given this template and told, alright, fill it out. What the fuck? I've never done a placement before. How am I supposed to know what you're after? I'll put up an example of that here as well. I don't know if these are like university specific or like, you know, country specific or state specific, but you know, hopefully that is helpful to someone. So, you know, placement in general, my first experience with placement was enlightening. I wouldn't say it was negative or positive. Like, I would say that, you know, I learnt that I probably don't want to work in that field. It's not just the centres themselves or the people in them, it's, you know, the funding bodies. Like, the reason the centres are the way they are is because of how funding is structured. So, you know, the centres have to perform a certain way to receive funding, and the way that they're expected to perform just is not how community development works. Community development is a slow, enriching process, engaging the community. You don't know how long it's going to take, and that's beautiful. Like, you know, it's a journey, you're along the ride. It's not, you know, we'll get this done by this time and this done by this time and the overall outcome will be this. You know, you don't know what the outcomes are going to be. So it's hard to report that to a funding body to receive funding. You know, centres are putting on events for no fucking reason. They're not engaging the community. They're just putting on events because they have to receive funding. And I just think that's so wrong. It's not community development. It's, I don't know, it's this weird expectation of what community is like. I will take the practice of community development everywhere with me, I think. I think I've learnt a lot about engaging with people and learning to really appreciate the process of engaging with people rather than focusing on the outcomes and what I can achieve from this engagement. I think that, you know, was really important for me to learn, because I'm very much a here's my to-do list and tick off each box, you know. I'd say I've learned to not be so much like that and be a little bit more flexible. So I guess I want to say, when it comes to placement, you know, bad or good, you've learnt something, and that's what placement is really there for. Like, either way, you're learning something about that industry or about yourself or about working with people. You know, there's just so many opportunities to learn from that experience. And if you're struggling in placement or you're nervous about placement, you know, chill out, it's fine. Just do what you have to do to get through it, and you will reflect back on it and think, yeah, that sucked, but I learned a couple of things. So while I was on placement, I became friends with a lovely lady, and she was going on to do honours, and she was really encouraging me to do honours. And I thought honours was you know, you had to do an extra year to do honours. but honours at my university is embedded into the course, so you can do it the exact amount of time. You just don't do certain courses and it's replaced with a dissertation course. So you still get the same amount of credit points and all that. I decided to do honours, so at the moment I'm writing a dissertation and you know, it's not very fun, and that's, you know, why I don't have a lot of time for anything anymore. Honours is a whole new bag of chips. It's what was even the process? So I went into the honours person's office asking if I could just get some more information. I wasn't committing to anything, I just wanted to know more about it. You have to have a certain GPA to get into honours, which I already had, so that was really nice. You go in, I made an appointment, I hung out with her, and there was just this list of research fields, and I picked like mental health. There was like a short description of what the research may involve, and I picked mental health. It was something to do with experience of patients, and I thought that was really cool from like the patient's perspective. So I met with my supervisors. This is after a while, like after it was accepted and a bit of like email communication. Yeah, we set a meeting and I talked to them about it, and yeah, at the start I think it's the hardest, because they honestly didn't know what they wanted to achieve, it sounded like. They just wanted, you know, research into the inpatient experience of acute care, and I was all for that. That sounds really cool. So look, I feel like I'm so far from it now that I'm not as frustrated as I was, but there was very minimal structure and I just struggled with that. I really struggle with ambiguity, and that's something I've really found out in the last year or so, is that I just struggle with, you know, not knowing how to do something and like having that pressure on you. Like if I don't pass honours, I don't pass my degree, and it may be a whole extra year on my life that I'm, you know, not earning money and living at home, and you know, it's just, that's a lot of pressure. So for me to not know exactly what I'm doing is really difficult. It's really hard. My mind instantly goes to, you know, the smallest mistake can mean my whole life is destroyed. But like realistically, another year on my degree, like it's not the fucking worst thing in the world, you know? But that's not gonna happen. I'm not going to let it happen. So I'm still doing my dissertation. I'm on to writing up the results. I haven't really written up anything else. I've done my intro and my method, but I will have to redo that entirely because we've changed my method, and my intro was really like, I didn't really know what to write, but now I feel very immersed in the data. So my dissertation is what is the lived experience of inpatients in acute care settings. So it's exploring you know, what patients experience. It's not necessarily like the experience of mental health or the experience of care. It's very specifically being an inpatient in acute care. And it's really, really interesting. There's a lot of human rights issues that I see in it, and like it doesn't sound like it's relevant to social work, but it's very, very relevant. Hopefully I'll be able to publish it, and that would be really nice on my resume. I'm hoping to do my next placement, which is next semester in like June, July, August? I don't know. Somewhere in there. I'm hoping my next placement will be in alcohol and drugs, or the psychosis unit, a psychosis unit. I think that would be a really interesting experience. I've always kind of thought that I would be working in like mental health area. I'm not sure why it calls to me so much. I will say that like over this whole experience of, you know, from placement to honours, like I feel like I've learnt so much about myself, and I feel like I lost a lot of anxiety over that period, because I did have to face so much ambiguity, and I did have to assert myself a lot, because at the end of my placement, when things weren't going right, I was blamed, you know? It was like, why didn't you email me that you were struggling? And I didn't know I could. So, like, I've learned to be more assertive, and I've learned to go with the flow a little bit more. So I also had to drive a lot for placement to places I've never been, and that made me really anxious. I'm not sure why I'm so anxious about driving, but that's something that, you know, I feel like I got better at because of placement, because I was really forced to do it. And honours has been really interesting, because I didn't really think I was capable of a lot, but honours, like, I feel like I have to pat myself on the back here. Like, honours is something that not many students do or are capable of doing, and it is for like high achieving students. It's not just like, oh, you're doing honours, you know? Like, there's only 7 of us in our cohort of social workers. 7 students doing an honours thesis. Like, that's out of like 200. It's insane. So yeah, I guess I've learned that I am more capable than I thought, and I am smarter than I thought, and I don't know, that's not necessarily like a social work update. It's more of like a personal and educational update. But I don't know, I hope this answers some questions. People just say like, can you give us an update? I don't really know what you want updating on. So this is it. I've updated you on my life as a social work student. Leave any questions down below if you have any specific questions in regards to, you know, completing a dissertation, or being a social work student, or university policies on placement, or, you know, like any of that stuff. Just hit me up. I'm not a scary person. I'm a social worker. I am here to support. That's all I will do. I'm gonna try not to edit this video too much, because that's just so much time. It'll probably be a long one. I hope you enjoy. See you next time. If I get enough questions, I'll do some kind of answering video for that. Yeah, thank you.
Love.